Guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys? Okay. Okay, ready? First question to you. In Canterbury Tales, which character is associated with flowers from Florence? Who is the character associated with dealing with fur from Florence? Bolo? Fur from Florence. Do you know? It is the merchant. The merchant deals with fur from Florence. Okay, don't forget, okay, in Canterbury Tales. John Wycliffe's later followers were discriminatorily called dash by their orthodox contemporaries. The orthodox contemporaries of Wycliffe did not like Wycliffe's efforts to translate the Bible. So, Wycliffe's followers were called what? Wycliffe's followers were called lollards because they lolled their heads and slept, it seems. You know, the poor priests, they did not have money, they did not have food, they did not have leisure, they were tired. That is why they lolled their heads and slept. They were called lollards. Will you remember, guys? Then, which of the following works by Dickens is not a part of the journal all the year round? Which of the following works by Dickens is not a part of the journal all the year round? This is also easy. You should know that Pickwick Papers was not published like that. It was published individually, not in any magazine. Pickwick Papers was published individually with a blue-green cover. A few, not as a whole book, but a few chapters as one installment. Then again, a few more chapters as another installment, like that. It is Pickwick Papers. It was not published in all the year round. A Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations, and The Uncommercial Traveller. Did you know that? That also came in all the year round. Okay, next question to you. Which novel by Dickens presents Weatherbury as a setting of the story? Which novel by Dickens is set in Weatherbury? Do you know? Which novel is set in Weatherbury? Weatherbury is the farm of Bathsheba Everdeen. Weatherbury is the farm of Bathsheba Everdeen in Far from the Madding Crowd. Will you remember? Far from the Madding Crowd by Dickens, Hardy. Sorry, Hardy. Which novel by Hardy, not Dickens of course, presents Weatherbury? It is Far from the Madding Crowd. Hardy. Sorry. Okay, next question. Ta-da-dang. Which of the following is not a play or drama by Oscar Wilde? You should know. Because which of the following is not a play or drama by Oscar Wilde? It is Happy Prince. It is a short story, Hannah. Short story by Oscar Wilde. It is Happy Prince. Then St. John is characterized by Shaw as a chronicle play in dash. St. John is characterized by Shaw as a chronicle play in dash. What is the full title? A chronicle play in 6 scenes and an epilogue. A chronicle play in 6 scenes and an epilogue. 6 scenes and an epilogue. That is St. John full title. A chronicle play in 6 scenes and an epilogue. Then, the Aran Islands is used as a setting by Dash for his major works. The Aran Islands is used as a setting for his major works. Who used it? It is, of course, J.M. Synge. It is J.M. Synge. La Corona. Oh, La Corona is a set of 7 linked sonnets sent along with a separate dedicatory sonnet to Lady Herbert in 1609. Here, Corona is a Spanish word meaning rosary. Who is the poet? Corona he wrote. Who wrote Corona sonnets? It is John Donne. John Donne wrote Corona sonnets. John Donne wrote Corona sonnets. COVID nahi, Corona. A wit is a feather, and a chief a rod. An honest man is the noblest work of God. A wit is a feather, and a chief a rod. An honest man is the noblest work of God. Identify the author and the work. Identify the author and the work. It is An Essay on Man by Pope. An Essay on Man by Alexander Pope. A wit is a feather and a chief a rod. An honest man is the noblest work of God. Sounds like Pope. Then, the mind in its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. Is it Paradise Lost 1, Paradise Lost 2, Paradise Lost 3, Paradise Lost 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The mind is in its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell and hell of heaven. It is Paradise Lost, Book 1. It is Paradise Lost, Book 1. Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost. Excerpts or quotations, please read. Excerpts or quotations. Then be not coy, but use your time, and while ye may go marry, for having lost but once your prime, you may forever tarry. So now, who wrote all this? Is it Richard Lovelace? Is it Robert Herrick? Is it Sir John Suckling? Bolo bolo. Then be not coy, but use your time. And while ye may go marry. What do you mean by that? It is carpe diem. And while ye may go marry. It is carpe diem. It is Robert Herrick. To the virgins to make much of time. Robert Herrick. Then, Poems Chiefly Lyrical is the first collection of poems by Alfred Tennyson. In which year was it published? Poems Chiefly Lyrical is the first collection of poems by Alfred Tennyson. In which year was it published? It is 1830. 1830. Okay, 1830. Arrange the following works in chronological order. देख पा रहे हो? Can you see? Arrange the works in chronological order. Pippa Passes, Paracelsus, Sordello, Asolando. One thing you should know. Paracelsus early, Sordello late. Paracelsus is an early poem. Sordello is a late poem. So 1 Pippa Passes, 2 Paracelsus. Remember, Paracelsus early poem. Asolando late poem. After Paracelsus came Sordello. Sorry, Asolando is the last poem. First Paracelsus, then Sordello, then Pippa Passes, then last is Asolando. It's like that. First Paracelsus. Paracelsus first. Then Sordello immediately after that. Then later Pippa Passes. Last is Asolando. 2, 3, 1, 4. 2, 3, 1, 4. Did you understand? Paracelsus. Pauline and Paracelsus early poems. After that came Sordello. After that came Pippa Passes. After that came Asolando. Will you remember? In which of the following works by Browning do we find the character Lucrezia? In which work by Browning do we have Lucrezia? It is Andrea del Sarto. Andrea del Sarto. Andrea del Sarto is addressing he's speaking to his wife Lucrezia. Okay? Andrea del Sarto is addressing his wife Lucrezia in that poem. Then, The Weeper by Richard Crashaw is addressed to The Weeper by Richard Crashaw. Have you heard of The Weeper by Richard Crashaw? It is addressed to some aristocratic lady anyway. It is a poem about the betrothal of Lady Magdalene. It is actually, all his poems are religious poems. He is addressing Lady Magdalene. Please read extra, okay? Please read extra. Then, which of the following poet's reputation was enhanced by Coleridge in Biographia Literaria? Which of these poets was mentioned by Coleridge? He talked about which of these poets? It is George Herbert. George Herbert was discussed by Coleridge in Biographia Literaria. According to G.M. Hopkins, this poem by G.M. Hopkins, all living things have a constantly shifting design or pattern that gives each object a unique identity. What is that unique pattern of all living things? What did G.M. Hopkins talk about as a unique pattern of all living things? It is the theory of inscape. Theory of inscape. Inscape is the unique pattern of all living things that gives us a unique identity. Which poem by Thomas Hardy has characters like Fancy Man, Jeering John? Thomas Hardy's poem, Older Woman Called Mother Lee. Do you know? Which poem by Thomas Hardy has characters like Fancy Man, Jeering John, an older woman named Mother Lee? It is a tramp woman's tragedy. A tramp woman's tragedy. Which one among the following is not true about W.B. Yeats's poem Sailing to Byzantium? All of you know Sailing to Byzantium. Which of the following is not true? Tell me, can you read properly? Included in the volume The Tower. Is it true? Correct, it is true. Sailing to Byzantium, is it written in iambic pentameter? Is Sailing to Byzantium written in iambic pentameter? Yes, it is. The speaker, referring to the country that he has left, says that it is no country for old men. Correct. The poem begins, the unpurged images of day recede. Unpurged images of day recede. It is from Byzantium poems. Byzantium. The poem begins, unpurged images of day recede. It is Byzantium. The poem Byzantium. Identify the three words for the. Datta, Dayadham, Damyata, Hana. Everybody knows. The alludes to Prajapati's threefold advice to gods from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is Datta, Dayadhvam, Damyata. The means Datta, Dayadhvam, Damyata. Which one among the following is an interlude in the Fawcett Saga by John Galsworthy? John Galsworthy wrote Fawcett Saga, and it has 3 novels and 2 interludes. Which of the following is an interlude? The Man of Property, In Chancery, To Let. They are the 3 novels. Interlude is Awakening. Interlude is Awakening. Then, which famous personality among the following requested Osborne to write about an angry middle-aged man in The Entertainer? Which famous personality asked John Osborne to write about an angry middle-aged man? Bolo. Which of these characters? Which of these people? It is Laurence Olivier. Who is Laurence Olivier? Laurence Olivier is a famous Hollywood actor. Laurence Olivier is a famous Hollywood actor. Which of the following does not happen in Streetcar Named Desire? Dekho, Blanche Du Bois travels from Laurel to New Orleans. Is it correct? Laurel to New Orleans. Blanche reveals a dislike to be in the glare of light, and she seems to have a drinking problem. Is it correct? Blanche had got married when she was young, but her husband committed suicide. He was homosexual, and he was discovered by his wife, and he committed suicide. Blanche was dismissed from a teaching position for her involvement with an underage student. All of the above are true. All these happen in Streetcar Named Desire. Okay? All these happen in Streetcar Named Desire. Will you remember? E is the answer. A, B, C, D all happen. Blanche Du Bois travels from Laurel to New Orleans. Blanche reveals a dislike to be in the glare of light and seems to have a drinking problem. She had got married as a young woman, but her husband turned to be homosexual and he committed suicide. Blanche got dismissed from her teaching position because she was involved with an underage student. All the above are true. In a room with a view, which country is Miss Lucy Honeychurch visiting? Which country is Lucy Honeychurch visiting? Lucy Honeychurch is visiting Italy. Lucy Honeychurch is visiting Italy. It is one of his Italian novels, A Room with a View, and Where Angels Fear to Tread. They are Italian novels. Which among the following is not one of the themes of Mrs. Dalloway? Which among the following is not one of the themes of Mrs. Dalloway? Is it society and class? Yes. Mental illness? Yes. Septimus Warren Smith has mental illness. Existential issues? Yes. Unrequited love is not there very much. Unrequited love is not there. Then, according to A.K. Ramanujan, a few versions of the Ramayana portrayed Sita and Rama as some versions of the Ramayana. In 300 Ramayanas, he says, some versions of the Ramayana portrayed Rama and Sita as dash. Is it spouses? Obviously, they are spouses. Then, daughter and father, siblings is correct. He said that in some versions of Ramayana, they are siblings. Why did Jayanta Mahapatra return the Padma Shri in 2015? Why did Jayanta Mahapatra return the Padma Shri in 2015? Is it to protest against rising taxes in India? Is it to draw attention to the collapsing Indian economy? Is it to protest against rising intolerance in India? It is to protest against rising intolerance. Rising intolerance in India. Will you remember? Gangu, a middle-aged peasant, is the protagonist of which work by Mulk Raj Anand? Gangu, a middle-aged peasant, is the protagonist of which work by Mulk Raj Anand? Gangu, who travels from Punjab to Assam, is in Two Leaves and a Bud. He is trying to protect his daughter. Two Leaves and a Bud. Mulk Raj Anand was among the first writers to incorporate Punjabi and Hindustani dash to English. He incorporated Punjabi and Hindustani colloquialism, idiom, allusion, ballads. It is idioms, usages, idioms. He uses Punjabi and Hindustani idioms in English. Arundhati Roy's novel, The God of Small Things, won the Booker Prize in the year. Which year? Arundhati Roy's novel, God of Small Things, won the Booker Prize in which year? 1997. 1997. Henna? Salman Rushdie's oeuvre means works. Combine magical realism with dash. Easy. Henna? Salman Rushdie's novels combine magical realism with historical fiction. Magical realism combined with historical fiction. From which poem of Alfred Lord Tennyson did the whiskey priest read in Graham Greene's The Power and the Glory? The whiskey priest in Power and the Glory reads from a poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson. It is The Brook. The Brook. The famous monologue in Act 2, Scene 7 of As You Like It is called All the World is a Stage. It is delivered by whom? Which character? It is delivered by Jacques. Jacques is the French name, but in English it is called Jacques. The famous monologue, All the World is a Stage, is delivered by Jacques, the melancholy philosopher in As You Like It. Henna? Very good. What is the subtitle of the book Political Shakespeare, jointly written by British cultural materialists Jonathan Dollimore and Alan Sinfield? Jonathan Dollimore and Alan Sinfield wrote Political Shakespeare, New Essays in Cultural Materialism. It is cultural materialism, part of cultural materialism. Political Shakespeare, New Essays in Cultural Materialism. Then, the lunatic, the lover and the poet are of imagination, all compact. These words of Shakespeare are from the lunatic, the lover and the poet are of imagination, all compact. These words of Shakespeare are from A Midsummer Night's Dream. A Midsummer Night's Dream. Then, which play by Girish Karnad is an allegory on the Nehruvian era, which started with ambitious idealism and ended up in disillusionment. Which play by Girish Karnad is an allegory on the Nehruvian era? It started with ambitious idealism and ended up in disillusionment. Tell me, which is the play? It is Tughlaq. Allegory of Nehruvian era. Idealism ending with disillusionment. It is about Nehruvian era. Will you remember? Identify the odd one in perspective of Chinua Achebe's motif. Things Fall Apart as a postcolonial novel. It depicts the fault lines of pre-colonial African cultures. Is it correct? Yes, it is correct. It presents invasion by European colonies during the late 19th century. Is it correct? Yes, it is correct. It urges Nigerian readers not to read Joseph Conrad. Ayyo, that is wrong. It is not there in Things Fall Apart. That is wrong. It is not there in Things Fall Apart. Henna? It is not part of Things Fall Apart. Which poem of A.K. Ramanujan depicts a son's reaction to his father's death? Which poem of A.K. Ramanujan depicts a son's reaction to his father's death? Of course, it is Obituary. He's talking about his father's death in Obituary. Identify the beginning line of A.K. Ramanujan's Of Mothers Among Other Things. When she left me after lunch, I read for a while. Nahi, nahi, nahi. It must come as leaves to a tree or not at all. Nahi, nahi. It is from Keats. I smell upon this twisted backbone tree the silk and white petals of my mother's youth. Is correct. That is the opening of Mothers Among Other Things. Of Mothers Among Other Things. ठीक है? Got it? In Coolie, how did Munnu entertain Sheila, the young daughter of the middle-class bank clerk, Babu Nathuram, in whose house he worked as a house servant? Bolo, bolo. Munnu is character in Coolie. How does Munnu entertain Sheila? Who is Sheila? The young daughter of Babu Nathuram. Munnu acts like a monkey by his monkey dance, and everybody calls him, treats him like a monkey. Everybody treats him like a monkey. ठीक है, all right? Wyatt's poem Forget Not Yet, has a predominant tone of Forget Not Yet, has the predominant tone of regret and melancholy. He is pleading with his lover, forget not yet this, forget not yes that, like that. Then, what does Krishna compare himself to? At the beginning of the novel, the English teacher. What does Krishna compare himself to? Krishna is the Krishnan, is the protagonist of the English teacher. What does Krishnan compare himself to? At the beginning of the novel, do you know? Have you read the beginning? A cow that does nothing but ruminate on dead grass. A cow that does nothing but ruminate on dead grass. For Yeats, Byzantium symbolizes an image of dash. Happiness, eternity, sorrows, nobility. For Yeats, Byzantium symbolizes an image of, is it happiness, eternity, sorrows, nobility? It is eternity. Byzantium symbolizes eternity. The song of the three Thames daughters occurs in the dash section of the wasteland. The song of the three Thames daughters occurs in the third section, which is the fire sermon. Remember fire sermon? Buddha's sermon, Saint Augustine's sermon. And the three Thames daughters is from where? Is from Prothalamion. Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song. Did you understand, guys? The fire sermon. Then, what does the Sibyl say in the epigraph of the wasteland? Is it, I want to live, I want to die, I am in love, I am immortal? Which of these does the Sibyl say? The Sibyl says, I want to die. Trimalchio in Satyricon, Trimalchio is telling the story of Sibyl, saying this to children who are making fun of her. Okay? It's stuck in a barbed wire snare. It's stuck in a barbed wire snare. Ich. The repetition of the German word for dash expresses that the poet could not articulate herself. What is this ich? What is the meaning of ich? Ich means what? Tell me, guys. This is from where? Daddy by Sylvia Plath. It is I. Ich means I. German is ich. I means ich. Which of the following natural objects are not mentioned in the first line of Immortality Ode? There was a time when meadow, grove and stream, rock is not there. There was a time when meadow, grove and stream, the earth and every common sight to me did seem apparelled in celestial light. Now, who combined Marxism and structuralism to create his own brand of social analysis? Who combined Marxism and structuralism to create his own brand of social analysis? It is Louis Althusser. Louis Althusser. Consider the following statements. Intersectionality is coined by Kimberly Crenshaw. She used it to highlight the need to include different aspects like race, class, sexuality, etc., along with gender in feminism. Tell me, intersectionality was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw? Correct. She used it to highlight race, class, sexuality? Correct. Both A and B are true. Both A and B are true. Among the following, identify the pair who has written essays on the same title, Dalit Women Talk Differently. Which two people wrote it? Sharmila Rage has definitely written it. So it must be this. Sharmila Rage has written Dalit Women Talk Differently. So it must be Gopal Guru and Sharmila Rage. Alright guys. Today I have only this many questions. It is a lot. We have covered a lot actually. But we are stopping early. Okay. Thank you. Bye. We are giving model tests in our paid group also. If you want, you can join. Study well. Have a wonderful night. I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, everybody. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.